welcome to this week's Drink and Draw. I am your host, Joshua Pentoloresco. I write stuff, apparently I illustrate as well, and broadcast and do all kinds of wonderful things. My guest is the amazing Wonder Woman herself. She's getting really shy when I say that, but the thing about that is she truly is. So she's a teacher by day, illustrator by night, secretly a rock star, I think. We'll figure that out when we get there. She is the one and only Nikolette Jones. So how you doing? So actually, I should ask this: Nikki, are you become more comfortable with Nikki or Nikolette?
Nikki works, yeah.
Nikki
Nicolette's
works.
more like my name. When I pretend to be a grown up, so we'll go with Nikki now.
Wait, you pretend? God, no,
I
I
have
don't.
to
I
pretend.
don't.
There's no way I'm actually a real grown up. No.
Oh, I don't even bother pretending anymore. I just say fuck it. I'm just me. I mean, if you like it, great. If you don't, that's no. It's funny because right now I'm doing temp work, and it's funny because I'm coming at this now. I'm not. I don't even treat myself like an employee. I think this is what gets people about me. I don't treat myself like I'm an employee anymore. I mean, I'm doing a job, but it's like I'm here because I want to be. I'm here because there's no real other reason. I'm getting what I want out of this, and that's it. I really don't care. I don't care about what you want, and that sounds really terrible. But I realized something a long time ago. Like we all do what we want to do. So I always think about what do you get? Like what do you want, and what are you trying to get out of things? So I don't have time to pretend. I'm too old for that shit. I mean, I'm me. So, and that's it.
And
That's
that's
it.
me as well. It's a long time coming. In the last few years, I think I've kind of become more whatever. I'm gonna just be me, and you can deal with
Yeah,
it.
it's just like fuck it, right? I mean, it's one of those things where you just look at it and go, you know what? This is it. This is the way it goes. This is how this game is played. You have to be comfortable in your own skin. So okay, so we're gonna. This might be the deepest part of our whole conversation tonight. So we're gonna get there. We, you you're becoming more and more and more and more comfortable as things go on. But when I met you, you're still very nervous and shy and all this other wonderful fun stuff. The first time I interviewed you, you were with a partner in crime, the amazing Sean Bird.
We are still partners in crime as
That's
well.
right. That's right. The Shoe Sisters is what I should call you guys, right? Yeah, they are the Shoe Sisters of Terror. They terrorize people with, and then wear awesome matching shoes to do it. I mean that should be your tagline, guys.
Oh, it completely is. Like I think we were soul sisters, and then we actually did a thing right before Christmas where since she lives in BC and I live in Edmonton, it was we would have the shoe thing, and we just decided that for solidarity to teachers, we decided we would match our shoes for like the specific days, and like so we were still wearing the same ones because we always did that at the When Words Collide conference too.
Yeah, no, I noticed that it was just one of those things. You guys just like it was like you guys were a team, and it was neat to see. But it was like she's kind of shy and bashful, and I'm not sure why. And actually, that is a good thing. So why are you so shy and bashful?
Oh, that's a good. That is a deep question. I'm not even sure. No, really. When I met you too, it's funny that you say that I'm shy and bashful because I'm pretty sure I had just come from the Calgary Expo, and I was like still wearing a costume.
That's when I first met, like when I physically met you. But I think I
Yeah.
interviewed you before.
Oh, okay. That they're like, yeah, because that's when we actually physically met each other. But I think I still was a little bit like that was maybe the second time I'd done an art show and stuff. But yeah, no, way at the beginning, I was not comfortable with myself, not comfortable with my own skin. I'm getting there. It takes time. It was a lot of time where I didn't know who I was. I always knew I like to draw, I like to do art, teach, that sort of thing. But relationships in my life and people in my life, I wasn't really allowed to be myself. It wasn't encouraged, the art part of it, and it seemed like it was something that was wrong. Like I didn't play sports. Like, I don't speak sport. Like, sportsing is, no. It's terrifying to actually watch me teach gym. Actually, I think the kids probably end up teaching the class better than I do, but it's fun anyway. But yeah, and that's kind of, my family's more sports family and stuff. And I hear I'm the weird artist kid that, reads books at recess and speaks French and all that. And it never seemed like I fit anywhere. And it just kind of was going. And then all of a sudden I just sort of woke up one day and, decided, no, I'm just going to keep being me. I'm stubbornly still doing art and still drawing all these years later. And I want to keep doing it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So
there's nothing wrong with it. Actually,
yeah.
we're gonna be drawing. I'll be honest. Like for me, this idea of actually drawing stuff was terrifying to me for a very long time. And part of it was I was always taught, like, for me, it wasn't really about athletics or art. It was just about, in fact, using your head to be an independent thinker to solve your problems. So art was, although ironically, art's a great tool for it. The coordination, especially when I was younger, my coordination was terrible. Still is kind of terrible, to be perfectly honest with you. But I mean, it's just one of those things where, because of that, and it was just easier not to do it. And then eventually you just tell yourself that you can't do it, and you believe it on some level. So this year has been about me unlearning that to some degree, to, I think, various degrees of success. Even though not every piece, my approach has been, oh no, she disappeared, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hoping she comes back, because we were about to get into the good stuff. Hold on a second. We will do this very quickly. I hope she's back. She is back. What did you do?
I don't know. I didn't even touch it. This technology really hates me, actually. It's funny. I'm going to interrupt because I just wandered out and wandered back in. I think it was Tim was doing a thing at When Words Collide, and I said, like, you don't want me to sit on, like, and watch your presentation, because whatever tech you have is not going to work. And he's like, oh, be quiet, come watch. And I was like, fine. And I did, and sure enough, he couldn't get anything. He had to, like, show it on a tiny little laptop instead of, like, the big smartboard that he had planned. And then I had to run off to a different session with Sean afterwards, and I get this text like 2 seconds later. So guess what works now that you're gone? And I'm like, I know. I'm magical in a bad way sometimes.
It's amazing. Yeah. So as I was about to say, I actually just looked on my board. I'm scared because I said, what Green Lantern do I draw? And I'm like, oh no. But I opened, but basically it's been a lot of fun because people have been, again, just one of those things, like, just try something new and not be afraid. I've learned a lot. I've learned this very important lesson relearned it, I should say. You can't be afraid to look foolish. And I think that's I think one of the things I've done a very good job of it, and for most of everything I've done is, I don't really fear looking like a dunce in the middle of a group, right? And that's sometimes a bad thing. Sometimes I really do look like the dunce in the middle of the room. But the thing about that is, I recognize the fact that, for me at least, you have to be willing to take those chances. And I think for you, this is the impression I get with you is, it doesn't surprise me, like, in one sense, that, like I was saying earlier, art and sports aren't really that different in one real sense. They have one major important thing in common, which is discipline, right? And this is right. They do discipline. You do things. You do. You can do the variety of stuff that. The mental headspace to do a sport and do art is actually not that different at all. It's just that probably be able to show up in practice. But there comes a point where he's like, "Grr, I have to do this." So for you, coming out in the open like this, coming out and saying, "Hey, I'm going to be me. Fuck it," which is the accurate, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It was like, fuck it. I'm just, yeah. People keep telling me I shouldn't do this and I shouldn't do this. I have to behave. I can't behave. Like, I honestly, I've tried, and it lasts for about 30 seconds, and then there's me again. There's no filter. Like, it's just, I was tired of having to always try to tone down the personality for other people's cover. I'm like, that's too much work, and I don't have the attention span to stick to that and remember the person I'm supposed to be. And I think looking like the dunce in the middle of the room, I'm okay with that too. And I think teaching has helped me with that. Having taught grades 2 to 12 now, French and in English, I've had all kinds of different, but overall, I really have no problem wandering up in the middle of teaching a grade 12 English class wearing like a full Shakespeare, like Lady Macbeth dress, and totally fine. And then going into my grade 2 class the other day on Wednesdays now, I call them Wonder Wednesdays, and I literally like dress right up in Wonder Woman stuff. I have a science equation dress. Like, I think and that's the shoe thing. It's funny because that's sort of how Sean and I ended up partnering up, was those particular shoes that we wear are very, very out there and flamboyant, and it takes a certain type of person to walk into a room wearing something electric blue on their feet. And if you're not really comfortable with yourself or comfortable with comments or people looking at you, then you might not choose the electric blue boots with with the buttons and all that stuff. And I didn't before. It's been about like the last almost 4 years, I think, since my life pretty much changed. Of walking away from a bad relationship where it just wasn't good, and I wasn't allowed to be who I was. And it's like those sorts of things changed. Like I used to wear, hair was always up in a ponytail. I had black and gray and white, and like just, I did not want attention. It was different teaching because I've always loved teaching, but it's okay to get up in front of the kids because it's all about them anyway. It's not really you. And so it was okay because I really wasn't the center of attention, even though like I'm up there talking. It's different because you're kind of lifting the kids up. And so then having left and wore very boring black, chucks or something, like it really wasn't anything to stand. I didn't want to stand out at all. And I was uncomfortable with it. And so I think that's the whole shoe thing, being able to wear those bright ass shoes and having like no problem with that, and knowing you're going to talk about them and someone's going to ask about them like every single time. It's just confidence, I guess, that it's slow coming, but it's
been coming. It's been
if coming. Any of that makes any sense.
Well, it does. Well, it's kind of like you've had this room to grow on your own. So a couple things. Go Indie now is actually on my Twitch channel, quoting some quotes. So I'm going to quote a few things, and we'll see what your thing. He who is not courageous enough to take risk will accomplish nothing in life, which is a Muhammad Ali quote. Mine is the Steve Austin quote. I have a Steve Austin quote that's in my head. He who plays it safe doesn't get shit, which which actually is my whole thing too. And he talks about the fact that kids pull all the zany out of you. I actually, one of my favorite teachers was during my like grade 12 year, I decided to become a class clown during physics class, but she was amazing.
Soccer.
Yeah, right. She was amazing. She loved. I still remember this. I remember one day we were talking about toys. So Lego's cool, but she likes Slinkies. I remember this great detail. Like she really, really dug the Slinky. So it was funny because I could crack her almost at will. She actually, towards the end of the year, she finally was like, okay, I got to be the adult in the room. I have to be the adult in the room. But I knew it, and I could even sense it then. I was a struggle for her because the sense of fun that was, I should have tried more towards the end of the year in terms of the actual subject matter. But the actual concept of, just cracking her was always a little bit of enjoy. I remember one of my buddies recommended me to draw actually on there. I would also try to crack him as well. And I'm sure you've had students like this, that just like, can we crack you?
Those are fun. They're always my favorite.
Yeah, of course, because honestly, that's those are the best because they're engaged, right? They are completely engaged with what you're doing, so you're making an impact. And I'm sure I'm sure you got a couple of stories. If you really wanted to tell a story about one of your students that cracked you, that'd be great.
Like cracked me as in, because I'm usually the weirdest person in the room. That's the thing, right? And so I've had students that I was warned about, oh, you don't want that one in your class. I was teaching high school, especially, and I was like, why not? And I ended up doing it was an English 10 class, and it was, I believe it was 14 boys and 2 or 3 girls. Like, it was interesting, and they're like, oh, these particular show, you're worrying about those. I remember finding that they were the most fun, and like it took some time and it took some like different, and I ended up, because with English we had the choice to do it was Lord of the Flies or To Kill a Mockingbird, and I mean both good, but the fact that I had like almost all boys in this class, I'm like, we're going Lord of the Flies. And so yeah, it's funny because breaking me is not, it's funny. They try sometimes, but usually they give up pretty quick because they know that
you roll with it.
I'm cool with it. Like I would get emails for that class especially too, because it was again, so many boys, and a lot of them really weren't big on English class or anything like that. And within 2 or 3 weeks, I had a couple emails from parents saying like, "What did you do to my kid? He was reading a book, and I didn't like ask him to, and I didn't threaten him, and it was like a school book." I'm like, I don't know.
Well, you were engaging, and they respected you. The thing about, I think the thing about the real secret to being a good teacher to kids is winning their respect. Once you have it, they'll go along with whatever it is you do. Right? That's why substitute teaching is such a nightmare, because it's like, because they know you're gone. They know you're gone after a couple days, so it's like, or maybe a week at most, and you're like, I can break you. It doesn't matter because you're going to be gone, and you're going to be decimated. So that's why I think substitute teachers like hate grade 6 and 7 in particular, because that's that age where they really don't care. Right? It's like, oh god, I got to deal with them. So I got to deal with this, and so you got to come up with a plan to get yourself to engage them quickly, or you've lost them for the whole duration, and it's a terrible time.
Only try everything they can to, because when I first started teaching, I did some subbing too, and again, that was another thing too, because they try and you don't know their names, so it's a little bit harder, to kind of, because you can't be like, because you have no idea who they are because you've never met them before. But usually, again, the junior high is an interesting age group, and I just remember going in there and they do try, like they try to move around, they try all sorts of things, but because I was laughing and I go in there just, hey guys, what are we doing? And I almost, I have authority, but it's more like I always go in like, we're a team, like, what's going on? Like, why don't you guys help me out? I'm new here. Like, and when they do something silly that they're assuming that you're going to yell at them for, I guess they must get yelled at. I don't, I laugh. And so I think right off the bat, that kind of catches them off guard, and that she didn't yell at me. What? Maybe because they're probably more mature than I am. I always tell my grade 2s that I'm teaching French Origin grade 2 right now, and I tell them, you guys are probably more mature than I am. You guys remember stuff better than Madame does. So they like that too.
It's like, make me look good. That just make me look good, and I'll make you guys look good, and I'll be like, sweet, right? Yeah. Okay, so before we get into the actual drawing, I want a drawing of the pictures. So you've been illustrating pretty much since you were a kid. So what got you into it? What do you remember what you drew like way back when and said, I want to keep doing this?
I just remember always drawing, but my uncle Bob, he was his art teacher forever. He's retired now, but he was the first family member that would bring me art supplies and things. Like I didn't even know what canvas was until all of a sudden he'd grab some from his classroom and bring it over, that kind of thing. So also there's that teacher aspect to it. It's probably that influence there, him influencing me to become the art teacher. But I just remember I just always drew things. Like even in school, like kindergarten, I'd be sitting there just kind of doodling, or sit under my bed and I'd actually draw under the bed.
Right.
I didn't want to draw on the wall so my mom could actually like see it. So I, under the bed, or like the wall under the bed. But like I was always drawing on things. And then with that encouragement from my uncle, he was always bringing me different art supplies to try, and I just kind of kept doing it, and I liked it, and it's one of those things that I could focus on for so long. Like when I get going, I can, if nobody interrupts me, I'll forget to eat even. Like I'll just be so into the piece that I'm doing, and it's kind of always been that way.
So what? Now we're asked one last question, and we'll talk about what we're both drawing tonight, and that's this.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to draw?
I love to draw superheroes. One in particular is my favorite. I do really like Wonder Woman. If you haven't noticed,
There's a pretty dead giveaway. There's a couple dead giveaways there.
Yeah,
the shirt, the background. Fun fact. Yeah. Joe, I think the fact that she's got a Wonder Woman shirt and she's got a Wonder Woman thing on there, and she's mentioned superheroes, it's kind of like obvious. There's not kind of like me, it would be a guess, but her
the porn stashes though. The porn stash, I would have to guess on your favorite draw.
Do you want to hear the story behind that?
Yeah, those.
Do you want to hear the story behind the porn stash thing? Yeah, it's terrible truth, ladies and gentlemen. This is the thing. I'm working on two little pieces right now in the back. Like I'm doing a draw and bid for Mog Park. Mog's been on the show already in the past for Drink and Draw. She was amazing and incredible and fun to have on the show. So she does a draw and bid every month. So I thought I would do a Lego Paladin, but there's so many different Paladins out there. So I tried a couple with the helmet. I tried a couple without the helmet. So one of them was just nice with just like the Lego beard, right? So I draw the Lego, like I draw it, and I just put the Lego and the Lego mustache, and I looked at it. It's like, isn't that a porn stash? And I looked at that really quick. Oh my God, it actually is a porn stash. That's what it is. And I'm like, oh my God. So what came, and I did this, and I did this last time, like what came first, the Lego stash or the porn stash? I'm not sure, but I think that's like a legitimate, like one of those important life question kind of things. What was the chicken? What was the egg in that one? I do know that Paladin, I decided I wouldn't do that Paladin anymore, although I did send it to my sister via text. I sent her a picture in that because she requested I do a Lego Paladin for her birthday. So I'm like, okay.
She got the porn stuff.
No, I'm going to send her, like I'm going to do that one over the weekend. It's going to have a fully developed porn stash because that is just, at this point,
it's your thing now.
yeah. Well, not only that, it's just the simple fact of the matter is, she wanted it so badly. I mean, as her brother, I have to deliver her something. And like I said, do you have siblings?
I have a sister. Yeah.
You two. Are you the oldest or the youngest?
I'm the oldest.
So you feel my pain. You realize that you must force it a little bit, right? Just a little bit.
You'd let them down otherwise.
We build their character because we are the ones that all the mistakes were made on. Yeah. And they get it. They get it a little easier in some ways than we did, simply because the parents screwed up there first.
We wore them down, and they
So we're just doing our part, you see. We're keeping sure that the abuse we went through is passed on to them. It's just like it's a perfectly healthy something or other. I mean, I know we'll leave it at that. I mean, it's a sibling thing. So it's one, and don't worry, she gets me too. Like she gets me all the time. She will keep me humble for as long as I'm alive. I know that, and that's a great thing to have actually in your life. So, but you're going to take your little shots here and there when you can, right? So Lego Paladin's going to be there. So she's going to draw Wonder Woman. I'm going to draw. So who's my big one? We're going to let people. Who do you think my favorite superhero is? I give it away pretty often if you look at my board, but Do you know?
I do. I
Do
think
you
I do.
know? Do you know which one it is?
I do.
Yes.
Do you want me to tell you, or we
Yeah,
letting people
we'll
guess?
see if Joe wants to actually answer it. If Joe does want to answer it, I'll let him answer. And if not, you know, I'll let him do it. I'll reveal it to the world. You know, I'm just waiting. I guess not. I guess he's disappeared off into the aether. So I'm a Green Lantern. I am a Green Lantern fan. Now,
I was gonna
Green Lantern does come
say.
with, Green Lantern does come with an interesting little challenge because there's a lot of them. There is an awful lot of them. I think there's Jessica Cruz, which is awesome, right?
Yeah.
There's Hal Jordan, which is okay. Guy Gardner's fun, but the one that made me laugh on my board is it is the GIF my buddy sent me about a half hour ago. There was a Green Lantern movie, but we don't talk about it, which is so true. We don't talk about that one. It was.
It never happened.
I want to say that. I can't say that. I saw the movie. I can't unsee it. You can't unsee what you see, Nikolette.
There
You
are
can't see it. You can't unsee it.
It's true.
Yeah. You know, it was one of those things where it was just, I was so sad, right? Because it came out around the same time Captain America came out.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: Captain America did it right, and Green Lantern did it wrong. Captain America has this like huge like history, so instead of just trying to get it all into one movie, they decided, you know, what would be really cool? We'll do a period piece with the first Captain America movie. That movie's awesome. It's great. It's a great, solid, fun movie. Green Lantern could have just done like Hector Hammond.
Yeah.
And it would have worked. And it would have worked. Hector Hammond was a great bad guy by himself. He's a great bad guy. Good actor.
Yeah.
You could have had Sinestro in there if you wanted to, just as a hint of bigger things, and then do the core stuff in like the second movie. That would have been wonderful and beautiful, and I would cry quite so much when I saw it's like all info dump.
Part of you died just a little bit.
Yeah, so yeah, Jon Stewart movie. Just Jon Stewart movie, everybody. Just that's what I want. That's kind of what I want to see. So I'm going to be drawing I am going to try to draw I'm going to draw the amazing here. I did the what Green Lantern should I draw, and that's the one.
Was there one with a porn stash? That's the first.
No, there's none. There are no Green Lanterns.
Yeah. Oh, it's tough.
No. So I was gonna do Kyle, right? Kyle Rayner's was the one I read, but the one that really cracked me up was there was a Green Lantern movie, but we don't talk about it. I'm like, okay, you know, I'll do that. Like, you know, that to me that's a great one. So there was a Green Lantern movie, but we don't talk about it. That's a Jon Stewart too, and I'm a big Jon Stewart fan, so I'm going to do that one.
Okay.
That's going to be mine.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll do Jon Stewart. You're going to do Wonder Woman. So I got to ask one last question, and we're going to focus on you. With or without the badass?
What?
With or without the badass armor?
I'm thinking I'm so strange. I haven't done one with her. I want to do one with her wearing a mask. Actually, I want to do like a portrait, that's where I probably, again, I might end up something completely different, but I'm actually thinking like just like a portrait. I wanted to put like a mask on, and like the thing could be because that's what I wear more now than any other article of clothing, you know, teaching through the mask and things like that. And then on Wednesday I've always got the big Wonder Woman mask and things. So
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
So okay, well we'll get to it now. Obviously, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get maximized here.
Terrifying.
Why?
Well, you know me.
We get to, but here, like I told you off the air. 1, you're amazing. 2, right? Let's be honest. I'm sure the audience will agree with me on this one. You're prettier than I am. I mean, I mean that's just the way it is. I mean,
Pretty too, Josh.
yeah, I'm just being real. And but number three, you're actually an incredible illustrator. Like honestly, her stuff with Sean is really, really good. In fact, you should probably do a quick little promo about the book series you did with Sean before we really get going here.
Oh yeah, it's so terrible at this stuff. That's why I need Sean. She knows how to like talk about stuff, like be like a proper grown up and stuff. But yeah, like the Nikki Knox books, like the short stories, little chat books. We were sitting around, joking around about probably shoes, I would assume, at When Words Collide, and it kind of just I had this character name in my head that, you know, I had a friend of mine. They're like, his last name is Knox, and he was like, "Well, your last name should be Knox. You should marry me. If my husband ever divorced you, just speak. Your last name should be Knox, because Nikki Knox is someone who would wear boots like that, and I was wearing some sort of obnoxious, very flamboyant pair of boots with crazy laces or something. Anyway, and it just like that name kind of like stuck in my head. I'm like, that's a cool name for some sort of superhero person. So it floated around in there, and then Sean. But I told her that story, and she was sitting there, she's like, huh. And that we of course were wearing the same type of shoes. I think they were the dots actually. We had coordinated. Yeah. And all of a sudden, like, you could see the wheels spinning, and then she kind of started jotting some things down, and then it kind of just went from there, and it ended up this woman named Nikki Knox, who kind of was a bit downtrodden and such at the beginning, not unlike myself, I suppose. And then it's just that confidence, and it was when she wears the shoes, it's almost like they have this magical power or something. We used the first pair of shoes, actually, or the boots that I had gotten when I was brave enough to wear electric blue boots. I was painting at the time, and it was discouraged in my relationship. Like, art was not. I actually had sold a painting, and you know, I wasn't really. I hate the word saying aloud, but I guess that's what it was. Like, it was just, it's like sort of, I was painting something, and I'd sold it, and I was like, those boots, I want to be able to be the person that can wear those blue boots. And so then I bought boots, blue Fluvogs with the money I had from the painting that I was painting on the slide, because I wanted to do art or something. You know, it wasn't really seen as something that was worthwhile for time and things like that. So it was kind of the first step towards being more confident about stuff. And so that's her taking that into the story, and then we have this character that, you know, finds that power in these shoes, and then we have a couple little stories that we've written, or she's written. I don't write anything. I've been just drawing. I doodle and draw pictures, but that she's written, where this character now gets into these situations, and it's, you know, different magical shoes and stuff. Yeah,
which is totally cool and fun. Yeah. The more I listen about your ex-husband, the more I think he was a douchebag. But that's just my opinion. Right? But we won't dwell too much on that situation, because it is what it is.
Two very different people that were way too different.
Oh yeah, well, that's obvious. I mean, yeah. they were. No, when you're with someone that's smothering you like that, it's not healthy for you. If you feel like you're being smothered, it's not the right relationship for you. And that's fair, right? I mean, you had to move out, and it sounds like you're becoming a lot more confident. So you're going to do Wonder Woman with a mask. I'm debating on whether I should have a Jon Stewart with or without hair. Right? That's kind of what I'm debating right now.
Yeah.
Because there's the classic Justice League Unlimited cartoon.
Yeah.
Which by the way is how most people know Jon. I know Jon from way back when I was reading Green Lantern. I always thought he was a cool character. The older I get, the cooler I think he is. So, well, Okay, so I did find a picture that isn't. It isn't. I'm not gonna lie. Right there is a mustache. There is a mustache here.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. There is a mustache. There's a goatee. There is that thing going on with it. But so I'm going to be doing that. So you're going to do Wonder Woman mask. I'm going to do John. I'm going to try to do Jon Stewart with a mustache and a goatee. I'll probably do a couple different things. We'll every so often we'll come up. Well, I'll be talking to you while we draw, by the way, just so you know. We'll be
Camera's right up, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, "Where's Josh?" And just see me.
Well, see. I'm. Can you see me, by the way, on the chat?
No, I can't.
Okay, there's I am. See, I'm here.
Okay.
So what happened was I made you the focus. Now if I go like this, you're the focus. See, right? You're the focus. But I'm already here. I'm literally right here, right? So the reason why you're the focus is because you're the illustrator, right? Right. I'm just the dabbler. Well, I'm becoming. Well, I have a master plan with the illustrations I'm doing, so we can talk about that too.
Yeah.
So actually, that's a good question. Let's just start drawing. I am going to put the focus back on you, but I am here. I am here, right? Okay. So feel free to talk to me. However, like I'm literally right there. I'm drawing, but you're like I said. Now it's about the images and stuff. So that's what we're doing. So hi. Right.
Yeah, just as you can see it a bit more the actual.
Yeah. You may like put the focus on as much as you can. Like it's more about the fact that you're drawing and you're doing cool stuff that.
Yeah, I think I'm doing portrait style this time, and yeah, it's one of those things where sometimes I do cartoons, sometimes I do portraits. Watercolor and ink seems to be my thing, so I think I'm gonna do that sort of a portrait sort of idea, I guess.
There's nothing wrong with that. All right. So I'm going to ask this while we get started here.
Yeah.
I'm dabbling with my mechanical pencil here a little bit and making sure it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. Those don't work for me either. I like the wood ones.
Oh, there you go. It's working a lot better now. Hey, hoo-ha, hoo-ha. I fixed it. Okay, so have you ever considered? Did you ever were you you're a Wonder Woman fan, obviously, but
yes.
But so where did that come from? Why is Wonder Woman your jam?
I've always liked her, but again, it's around the same time when I kind of just became more independent, became more confident. I identified with her a lot more. Like she's always been my favorite, but it's taken on a new meaning to me now as well. Like with even in the art, like one of the first pieces that I did, it was okay to have a sketchbook. It was okay to dabble and draw and practice and that kind of thing. Whereas before it was like, if I'm going to steal the time to do art, it has to be something marketable, or, it was always that pressure and had to be, it never really was what I wanted it to be. It was just trying all these things, but it had to be great the first time. And it was just that letting go and being able to just draw. And I remember it was about 2 a.m. I probably couldn't sleep. Like artists, we don't sleep. You guys, writers and musicians are all very things in your head at like 3 o'clock in the morning that you just have to do. But I think I'd had a glass or two of wine and was like, you know what, I'm going to draw Wonder Woman because I'd really been, I always liked her, but really identified with her now. And I used to be the person when I was doing portraits that I would pull out a ruler and I would sit there and I would like stress about it and then I would like erase it. And it's like it was almost harder to do when I was stressing so much about it. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. It's that big one behind me there. And I'm just going to draw. And I grabbed my pen. I don't even think I used a pencil that time. Normally I do, just to kind of get the outline. And I just took me about 5 minutes. All of a sudden there she was. And it was like realizing those little things, just letting that go, relaxing about it, being okay if it kind of just tells me what it's going to be. And that sort of built from there. And then I'd done the big Wonder Woman portrait, and then I was too nervous always to, people are like, well, why don't you go to do an expo show or something? Oh, well, I'm not good enough for that. And So then finally I just sucked it up and I went and signed up for the Edmonton Expo to do to have an art table, and that was one of the first pieces, and I brought it with me, and it was then I decided I wanted to wear the dress, and then I became, you know, it was very well received, and so I just and talking to people at the expo was like finally talking to people who were like me instead of me not feeling like I fit anywhere, and so it was just kind of snowballed from there, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So for me, Green Lantern came when my parents actually got divorced or separated at that point,
Yeah.
eventually divorced. Um, my dad was like, well, you know what, you're gonna need something to keep you busy, or keep you at least try to keep you happy. And so for me, it was Green Lantern for me that kind of kept my theory. That's when I met Hal and Guy and Jon Stewart,
Yeah.
and I became a fan of those three. The core Green Lantern concept. That's pretty much where it came from for me. Um, but Jon is actually bald John with the porn stash is the
You
basic.
need
It's not
you
that hard.
now, you know, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm never gonna live that down, huh? Porn stash designer. It's never gonna be like. It's never gonna be. It's
It's
never.
never.
Okay. Should I put that in my bio?
I think you
Right in
should.
my day, porn stash designer. By okay, yeah, okay,
I
okay,
think it's now become your thing. Like
okay.
it's you, man.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And I'm sure anyone watching this is just laughing their asses like, what the hell? It's like,
Yeah.
like art's a strange thing. You just kind of embrace the possibility of like what you're doing and how you're doing it, and it's like crazy. Like it's crazy to me that like I said, I never thought actually be doing this. It's such an
You're getting
interesting.
pretty good too. I've seen like your growth in the drawings and stuff that you've been doing. You can see the improvement even.
Yeah. Well, I've also kept it like so. This goes to my next question. Since you're big into comic, you did the comic stuff,
Yeah.
right? Right. So my next question is, um, oh wow, that's how you do that. That's neat. That's interesting. I figured out the secret to beards.
You did.
Yes.
What's that?
No, I did. I figured out the secret to beards. It's actually wow. It's actually not that hard. Cool. Right. It's actually really simple. Also, the Warner Brother cartoon of John, like the shape of John,
Yeah.
it was geniusly simple in comparison to some of the other stuff I've tried to draw. Lego is surprisingly hard, right?
Yeah. It is actually.
Yeah, it's surprisingly hard, but like the cartoon shape for John is actually incredibly simple. I need to get colored pens. That's what I actually need to get next. That's the next uh, tool for myself because
Whereas you do need colored pens.
yes, I do because that's the next step because my first sketch of John I figured out his basics. So I'm gonna try to take that and do it again. I'll show you my sketch in a bit. We'll compare as we go, but I have a plan to get into comics at some I've always loved comics.
Yeah.
But the thing is, as a writer, getting into comics, it's super hard to as a writer to find artists that especially when you have a very limited budget. You're like, well, okay, because let's be honest, illustrators do a lot of heavy lifting, right? Just one page can be a lot of time and effort and work,
Yeah.
right?
Hours.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So can you imagine like 20 or 25 pages of panels and little things and these directions from your writer? It's like, oh God, shut up. I got this. I know what I'm doing, right? Or something to that effect anyway.
when they have the idea in their head of what they're wanting, so you're trying to kind of read their mind at the same time.
Well, there is that concept, but it's more along the lines of the fact that you recognize the fact that yeah, wow, that was I figured shit out. We'll try that again. Um, but no, the thing about that is now that I'm actually doing some stuff on my own,
Yeah.
right? Now I'm doing some stuff on my own. I'm like, well, okay. So now I'm teaching myself. Like, if you notice too, I've been going for a lot of expressive stuff, not just any particular style. And don't get me wrong, I'll probably do more realistic stuff as time goes on. But I'm interested in, like, if you notice, right? I did Dr. Seuss. I did Alice in Wonderland one week.
Yeah, I that's another favorite of mine actually. I think the Cheshire Cat is probably my my
Cheshire Cat's
spirit
cool.
animal. What does that say about me?
No, it's okay. Cheshire Cat's cool. It's been interesting. Well, I'll tell you, the most interesting thing about the Cheshire Cat to me is how much of an impact he has by doing so very little. And
Mhm.
based on that, I actually based the Greek god I made him in my story
Yeah.
based on that concept about how little was done, how very little. That's okay, and I just figured out next. That's kind of cool. All right, how little he does and how much chaos he brings. Right, he's a fun character by his very nature. By his very nature, he's a very fun character. But he's
Yeah.
also comes with like, he's also a headache, right? So, but that's his appeal. He's trouble, and you know he's trouble,
Yeah.
right? But people like the fact that he's trouble, right? They don't like if he wasn't such an odd. He's an odd character in the story.
He
Every
is.
time I read him, he's interestingly odd, right? But that's part of his charm too. He's just so unique,
I
right?
know why I think that's why I like him too. Is I've always like as a kid, even my favorite. He was always my favorite, and I think I don't know. I always laugh when I say that I'm weird or I'm strange, and I've had people tell me that oh you shouldn't say that or you shouldn't say that, but I really think that I'm okay with it because I actually have always said it as a positive for me. Like it doesn't come across that way. Saying, "Oh, you shouldn't say that about yourself. Like you're putting yourself down." I'm like, well, in my head, weird and strange and unique is not a bad. That's actually a really that's something I like about myself. And so, yeah, I
Uh,
always find that funny.
okay, would you mind a touch of criticism? Just a touch, because I do it myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? I call myself weird and crazy, and I embrace the
Yeah.
possibilities. But actually, see, you're not weird and different. And here's the truth, and I hate to say this. I got to admit this on the air because I
Mm-hmm.
do this too. I do it in a self-deprecating way because I
Yeah.
recognize the fact that, in my case anyway, apparently I intimidate people. I'm not sure why exactly, but I do sometimes. And I'd self-deprecate myself, so it makes it a little easier, sometimes a little easier for people to handle what I'm doing. But
Yeah.
I'll but the truth of the matter is, if we're really being honest, you're not really that weird or different. You've just chosen to stand out. We're all unique. We're all unique and different in the sense that we all have unique traits and, you know, goals and dreams, and we do things that make us us. But the
Yeah.
truth of the matter is, it's not that we are unique. It's not that we're weird. We just have the courage to be ourselves, and that's a really cool thing, actually, when you sit there and think about that. So the truth, in one sense, they are absolutely right. You're not weird. You just have it. You have a gut to see the world in a very different way than someone else does, and that's actually to be commended, because individuality is one of the hardest things about the world. Most people don't choose to be individual. Most people, like, that's a hard thing, and that you should be commended for, trying to be different.
That's true. There's a lot of people that tried to have me fit into, and I was just stubborn enough that I wasn't going to allow it. I guess.
I refuse.
Pretty much. Yeah, like it was the amount of with the drawing and this and that, like, do you really have to be like that? Can't you be normal for a minute? Those sorts of comments, like hearing it all the time. I stuck to my weirdness and I like it. So yeah, like it's oftentimes something easier just to, and I did it to a point, but there was always little bits here and there that finally now I've embraced all of it. But I think it's the negative connotation that comes with the word weird that I don't associate that with weird. Actually, I think it's a sticker on one of my favorite shoes, the Flu Vogue shoes. There's a little sticker that actually says, "No, you're weird." And that's my favorite one. Like I put it on my laptop because they'll send you cute little stickers sometimes with the shoes and stuff.
Yeah.
And that one is my favorite. And I've put that up on my, I've got it on my laptop. I've got some at school. And that weird, I don't associate negative to the word weird because I think even with students and stuff, like when I first walk in, they first meet me, they were like, "Why are you wearing weird shoes? Why are you doing that?" And it's like they're looking at me. I'm like, why not? This is me. What would be wrong with that? And then what I notice is it's like it gives them permission to be different and to be weird and to embrace whoever they are because they see madame's up there wearing some sort of top hat and tails or something. It's okay to be weird then. And so I think that's sort of why I grabbed that word, because it's one of those words where it's used to make fun of people sometimes, and I've always looked at it like it's a strange, weird, interesting. I don't know.
No, it's cool. Right? This is what my show does. We have these conversations about different things, right? But I'm looking at it and like going, it's interesting to me. I do arm promotions completely wrong on this, but that's okay. I'm having fun, and I've learned. And again,
I can't even see it. I want to see it.
Okay, I'll show you if you really want. You want to really? Here, I'll show you here.
Of course I do.
Hold on a second here. Okay, we got. No, that's not right. That's right. Okay.
That's a great orange statue you drew there.
That's my Jon Stewart so far. But I've got the proportions of his arms wrong. This is my second sketch of him. But he's actually incredibly simple. I was really surprised.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good beard too. Like it's a very it's he could probably wander around outside of playgrounds and no one would call anybody.
Yeah.
Beard. It's a full beard.
Well, that's it, right? I still can't grow a full beard, and I'm 39 years old. It's like, damn.
COVID, I almost was able to, but
yeah. No, just what it is.
You said be myself. I asked you if you were sure.
It's okay.
You said yes.
No, and that's fine. I hope you've enjoyed the the time you've had here so far. Right?
I have.
Yeah.
You're always fun.
Am I worth being nervous about?
No, I'm just always nervous, especially it's me. Before I do anything, I've always had this moment of panic, and it goes away pretty quickly, actually.
Fingers are hard. Fingers are hard.
I will avoid them at all costs. If I can avoid drawing a hand, if I put it in a thing, I can do them, but they are.
I've mentioned her a few times. An showed me a really cool trick with hands, really, really cool trick with hands. It's a bunch of squares.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a bunch of squares. And once I realized that, it's like, oh my God, this is.
And it's a lot easier. Yeah, once something like that clicks too, it's the angle sometimes. It's just, once in a while, and then you're like, well, what side is the thumb on? And sometimes you put the thumb on the wrong side and you're like,
Yeah.
Not okay. It just looks. It's the small little detail that just looks
Yeah.
wrong.
No, it's amazing. Like I said, so it's been kind of fun because what I'm learning, like what I'm interested in when I'm doing drawing, like I said, when I get into comics, is the expressions are very important to me, and like how to animate emotion, because that's more important than me actually being good. And I realized this, right? And again, it's not just an expensive hobby, but it's also understanding the psychology of a story,
Yeah.
right? And I'm having fun with it because what I'll be working on is about a dragon that makes fun of me for drawing. Yeah. That's gonna be my thing, because it's like I can be self-deprecating, and it's fine. It can be silly and it can be fun, but it's also it gets around my shortcomings, because I can now be bad on purpose even.
Yeah.
And now it's part of the story. There's no mistakes anymore because it can just be me.
Yeah.
Right. Right. But see, that's the thing, right? I learned this a long time. I learned this when I was nominated for the Aurora for the podcast.
Yeah.
And that was this. We're gonna go back to focus on you for just a little bit here. You gotta tell me what you're doing.
I'm doing with ink, so it might even be easier to see, because when I do those scratchies with all the pencils and stuff, it's hard to see because I have my lights right ahead. But
yeah.
So
it's all cool. So people can see what you're up to here, right? Actually, let's go like this, because until you get to the inking stage, and then when we get to inking, we'll focus more, because then when we can see all the highlights. But here's the thing, right? I ask myself what did I do right? Not what I did wrong, what I did right. And I recognize a very powerful lesson is it's not always about getting it all right. It's just about putting yourself in positions to succeed. Yeah. That's the real secret. I find with so because I know this is going to be my first comic, and because I know that that I'm not going to be at the caliber of some of the other people I'm working with, right? I know that I have to turn my weaknesses into a strength, and it's a good way of doing it. It's like, well, what if I give myself permission in the comic to be bad?
Yeah.
Right? And then suddenly,
yeah.
Now I took my shortcoming and I made it a strength without even really trying that hard. Right? And it's a really simple little thing where I'm like, well, and then it occurred to me, it's like that's how you get around. It's how you turn weaknesses into strengths. Right? You give them opportunities to be successful without trying too hard, I guess, for lack of a better word. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes perfect sense, actually. There's like when I accidentally do mistakes, on the board or things like that, and the kids, they can see that I've spelled something wrong or I've done something, and I'm looking at them, and then you guys can call me on it, and so now it's almost like I accidentally figured out a good way to teach them how to edit. And so now they're just excited just to call me on some of my screw ups. It's great.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I remember as a student, you always like catching a teacher when they're wrong.
Yeah.
But the way to disarm that tactic is just go, okay, I am wrong. Now what?
Yep.
You still need me, damn it. I'm the one judging you.
Yeah. But also it was cute because they like, you could tell that they noticed it, and then I noticed it. Sometimes I'll do it on purpose, and then it also masks the fact that sometimes I'm just like, oh, I totally spelled that wrong, But at the same time, they're looking, and it's like they want to say something, these little guys, and I'm like, okay, we have to stop. You need to be able to call me on it. I need you to be able to. And then they liked the fact that I gave them permission to call me on things like that. Like it was so cute at the beginning to watch them nervous about it, not wanting to say anything.
Yeah.
Like, I spelled that word wrong. You call me on that. And so now they love it.
It's like, I am wrong sometimes. It's not often, but I am wrong sometimes.
And that's the other thing too. And then it makes it okay for them to be wrong sometimes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you can make, if you can turn a weakness, that's how you do a finger. Oh my gosh, it's that simple. Oh my, holy crap! I figured out fingers. I still got it. Now,
That's huge.
I figured out fingers. Okay, so I'm sure somebody's looking at me. It's like, how the hell did you do that? Now it looks more like a claw than a finger, but I figured that the fingernail thing is trickier than the actual fingers. But
Hands are definitely, they're tricky.
it's so easy to turn them into claws. Ah, claws. But,
Different character. So you just embrace that. It's telling you what it needs to be, and it becomes a totally other character.
yeah, that's right. And I just realized Green Lantern must be super fun to draw. Just must be super fun to draw because, yeah, it's not bad at all. No, it's not quite there, but it's not bad. I definitely. I'll show you this when I'm done. I promise. I promise.
Yeah, I'm starting to do the. She's got some eyes, but she needs eyelashes because her eyes are like really wide right now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you just for shits and giggles here.
Mm-hmm.
So we've all gone through some different wonderful transformations during this time.
Yeah.
So for you, what has been the thing you've learned about yourself in this time?
In COVID times.
Well, in this bizarre time.
The apocalypse, the plague.
Well, it kind of.
Learned about myself. It's been interesting. Like that, I like people more than I thought I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like being by myself all the time. And then I've got 3 sons too, and so it was different though. Like hanging out with them versus like I really do miss that personal connection, that face-to-face connection with people like peers, right? And so thinking, oh, I was a loner, or I'm okay without people. I was always thought I can do this all on my own, and didn't. I hate asking for help. I still do, but I'm getting better at not. But it's just realizing how much, thinking that you've become so independent, and you've grown and all this stuff, but realizing that you just need people and relationships, and that missing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because you get so in survival mode too when you're like single parent, you're working full time, you're teaching, you're doing art, like it just becomes like you're on autopilot, and it's you get so used to just being solo, and I can take care of myself, and then I'm Wonder Woman, I'm good, I don't need anyone. And then when it gets to the extreme, like we've seen it, where you can't leave and you're not seeing anyone, or you're like at school, we eat by ourselves or with our students because at lunchtime you take the mask off. They discourage that, so we don't have the staff room anymore. Like it's just that lack of people that I'm just realizing that I do need, like it's.
Yep.
Sorts of, if that
No,
makes sense.
I get it. I get it. To me, that's why I think the lockdowns, no matter what happens this year, are going to come to an end.
Yeah.
I think we've come to a point that the one thing about this time I picked up on really quick, it's really easy for us by and large to resort to cruelty.
Mm-hmm.
It is actually incredibly easy. I think the hardest thing I had, so for me, it was actually oddly art related, believe it or not. When I was in Vancouver, I was still considered an essential worker. Right this minute, I'm still kind of considered an essential worker when I do the temp job. And it's a weird thing to me because honestly, I feel like the word essential has become a curse. And so what I learned was on the way home. I remember Vancouver has a very interesting homeless population.
Yeah.
If you ever go downtown Vancouver, under more normal circumstances, you see so many interesting characters.
You do, yeah.
Um, Through it. And I remember, I still remember this. Um, One night I'm going home, and I have to take two trains and a bus. So, I this is going to sound very odd to some people, but I'm honestly not that terrified of COVID. And the reason why I'm not that terrified of COVID is because I've already made peace with the risk I take every time I go outside. If I'm going out, there's always a risk something bad's going to happen. So rather than dwell on that, I just made my peace with it. That's me. That's my answer to it. May not be yours. I get it. If for anyone listening, if that's the case, but you come to a point at some point that you're like, okay, listen, if I'm going outside, I'm taking a risk.
Yeah.
That's just all there is to it. That's what I'm doing. So for me, that wasn't the issue. So this gentleman, came up to me and say, "Hey, excuse me, you got any pencils I could borrow? I got like a notepad here. I'd like to draw something." And I honestly didn't. I looked. I thought I did, but I didn't. All right, and he was like, "Oh man, thanks for trying." And he held out his hand.
Yeah.
And it occurred to me that, okay, this is why this is such a freaking cruel. This is why this is such a cruel time, right here, right? Because I thought about not taking it, and I hated myself for that just a little bit. And that's when the first time the question came to my head: is a hug worth dying for? I think after a year of this, nearly a year of this, I think most of us would answer unequivocally yes, right?
But
yeah, almost all of us would, and then that's the honest answer. Because there just comes a point where you gotta look in the mirror and go, you know what, you gotta choose how you're gonna live your life.
Yeah.
And that was my answer at the very beginning. But watching how the year has progressed, the cruelty I saw with a lot of people really bothered me, because it didn't. I don't think it needed to be as cruel as it was. But that's me. That's my opinion. That was the part of this whole thing that I felt in general, and fairly or not, just disappointed with people.
Yeah.
That all said, I mean, we were also in this is an extreme time. And I realized, and then I came out to realize like this is crazy. It's a crazy time, and people have to make their own decisions about what they're doing. And I recognized that, and it was like, okay, I can kind of forgive everything. Now I'm in an interesting position in that I quit my job during the pandemic. I just said, fuck it.
Yeah.
And I'm still, like I said, I don't really consider myself an employee anymore. I'm doing what I want to do, and that's all I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I don't really see the need to. I'm in a good position kind of right now because of where I'm at, but there's going to, like, I know there's a point this year that I'm going to walk away from this position, and when I do, I'm still going to do exactly what I want to do. It's not going to change. I've come to that point in my life where it's just like, life's too short. Let's just we only have time to do what we want to do and be the people we want to be with, and that's it. You learn what matters really quick when you face a possible end.
Yeah, no, you really do. Actually, I found that too. Being 34 when I finally began my life effectively, having not been allowed to be myself as much, or not felt like I could, or hadn't embraced who I was for so long. It's getting out of that and actually doing it now. It's like I think that I've wasted that much time. Life is really too short, and it's just like, what's the point in being miserable all the time? I guess as the whole, of course, following the safety and the protocols and things, I wear the mask and it's that sort of thing, but just trying to make sure that everybody else is staying safe, whereas that's even become like an issue. And talking about people being cruel to each other, people showing up at school, parents once in a while coming to drop off kids and stuff, and they're not wearing them, and it's like, we've got the mask on, and we have to, and it's just that whether they think it's a good idea or not, just showing other people that yes, we're here to support you, and that's, you know, what I've noticed. People get so upset about something like wearing a mask. It's like, but like, is that really the hill to die on here, guys? Like, why can't you wear it? Like, I don't know. And then that just something so small like that is causing all this cruelty. It doesn't sit well with it. It's like odd how they just went so far with it. And I'm like, does it really seem like something to have riots over? You know,
Oh, down south, that's a Pandora's box. That's a Pandora's box.
I know.
I mean that as much as people want to think it's about that is been building for decades down there. What's going on down there, right?
Oh no, that stuff. Like I'm talking about something simple like wearing a mask is like, you know, people going to those extremes over something that doesn't seem like it's that.
Well, it's interesting to me because I've seen it kind of go both ways,
Yeah.
right? I've seen that, but I've also seen it the other way. I've seen there's people that. So one of the my coworkers at the temp job, she works there like full time. She wears a mask. It actually is difficult for her to breathe. She walks slower. She slows right down.
Yeah.
She honestly should not wear that mask. Like she really should not. But if she takes it off, everybody, it's almost like a chicken with
the stigma.
Yeah, there's a stigma that way too. So I think at some point this year, I know the lockdown stuff's going to come to an end sometime this year, but I think as far as the mask stuff go, there's also going to come a point, if not this year, then next year, where people are going to like do what you want, because I think there's going to come a point where, regardless of what people think about whether the vaccine will work or whether it doesn't work, there's just a point where you just there's a point of there's a point of this is going to become normalized at some point. And when it does, when it becomes normalized, like a typical COVID case, I don't know exactly what that looks like anymore. There's extreme cases and then there's very minor ones. I think at some point we're going to say, you know what, the minor ones aren't going to be that big a deal anymore. And when we get to that point, I think that is going to be when we're going to be looking at things very differently in regards to how COVID's treated. And when we get to that point, that's going to be when we're going to be saying, okay, what's the major cases? Who's the immunocompromised? Who's the elderly? Who's the sick? And those are the people we're going to be worried about more. And that's going to be a priority. And again, the extreme cases, people that are in the hospital, people who are suffering from it. It's going to become that will be, unfortunately, the good for good or bad. That's going to become a more normal thing. It has to, because we cannot keep living like this either. There's going to be some give that way, and when there is, people are going to again start to veer away from masks, just like they did with the last plague. And then but there are going to be some people too that are going to be permanently comfortable in masks too. That's going to be a part of the new normal, regardless of whether we're in COVID or whether we're not in COVID, right? Some people are going to be like, you know what, this mask makes me feel safe.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a normal part of behavior, at least probably for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. I think inevitably, there will come a point too where that will eventually fade to some degree as well. But even so, I know for a fact that this changed everything, and everybody's going to react to it what they feel is for the best. And for some people, that's going to be the mask is going to be there to stay. For other people, the mask is going to go, because that's like, again, there are people like my friend who just can't wear it or shouldn't be wearing it like they are. So.
Well, I'm used to that too, like being at school, like with certain classrooms and certain students, like they're too little. Some of them, they just can't wear it all the time, right? And so it isn't as much of a stigma. Like, I mean, for the adults and stuff, we all have them, like all the teachers and stuff. But, you know, seeing kids walking around where they medically or they just developmentally they don't wear one, that's okay, right? And that's fine that way. And so there's becoming more of a a thing where people will do what they're comfortable with.
Yes, and that's inevitably going to happen more and more.
And teaching French with a mask on is difficult because they can't see my mouth. But sometimes if like you didn't feel like putting on a lot of makeup that day or whatever, you're okay. No one's gonna see it. But again, teaching a second language with the mask over your mouth, because they can't, especially little guys, like they're 6, 7 years old, they're still learning the language. It's harder, and if it's muffled as well, but just being able to see your mouth is kind of
it's huge. Even when I go, like, okay, so on my way home, I went and grabbed a coffee at Tim Hortons. So on my way home, can I take your order? Honey cruller. What? Honey cruller. What? Because again, you're just not used.
It's
It's just
and then having to project it through the mask, like getting used to it. Like even my voice, I have almost like a bit more of a rasp to it now, because having to push the, my vocal cords and stuff to project it through the mask now. Like it's kind of become a thing where it's like I think I sound a little bit different than I even did, because it's
Version 2. What do you think?
Ooh, well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I've got a face going on.
Yeah, I figured out hands.
Let's see. Yeah, they're pretty good. Like I try to avoid drawing hands at all costs if I can, but I mean, it's not like I can't, but that is good. Well done.
Yeah. So like I said, Anvu, you rock. If you're watching this, thank you for teaching me that very important lesson. Right. So yeah, Jon Stewart, ladies and gentlemen, I can draw Jon Stewart. I can do it. I can do it. So let's see. Should I try a version 3, or should I try another Green Lantern? What do you think?
It's up to you.
No. You're the guest. Come on. You make the decision.
Go Green Lantern again.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a Green Lantern. There's no. That's not the question. It's good. Do you want me to do John? Do you want me to do any of the other ones?
No, do John again.
Do John?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm terrible at making decisions. I should know I'm not terrible at it. I just make too many in a day that sometimes then you ask me something simple like, would you like what for dinner?
Really?
Teaching kids all day, I think I make about 7,000 in an hour kind of thing, because you're always like constantly changing and doing things. So that then you get home, it's like you're a little tapped there. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you've been dealing with kids all day. I mean, I'm not that different from a kid. I mean, when you get it down to it. So, did you ever do a comic?
Have I ever done one?
No, would you ever do one?
I totally would, if someone would let me. Or I would just have to.
So why not create something for yourself?
I should, actually.
Yeah.
These ideas floating around, and then I chicken out, or I forget what I was writing, or something, or then trying to find the time and stuff. And I did a lot more drawing too. That was another thing I got to do during that first lockdown. There is a lot more drawing, and I even in the summers and stuff now with teaching, I'm doing a bit more, trying to slow down a little bit more too, not taking as much work home, and so focusing on that drawing thing. And I have ideas, and so I think that I just need that confidence or that push, or and I'm getting a lot better. The more I draw, there's that ease, that flow, because with comics, you have to draw kind of the same character, the same thing over and over again a lot of the time. And so being able to have that character look the same every time, like that's what I was so scared before. And that was when I had said, when I was drawing, I used to get out the ruler and I'd stress about it, and it almost turned out worse because I'd be so stressed about making my portrait look right, or this or that, and having that same image. And, over and over again, I was always afraid to. But see, now having done the practice and not worrying if I make a mistake and that sort of thing, I think it's like even being able to do this, like sitting here with a pen and like actually having a drawing in front of people, like where I can't edit and hide and that sort of thing. It would have terrified me a lot more before, whereas now it's going a lot more smoothly because it's just that letting go. And so I think that I actually would be able to do something like that a lot more successfully now.
Yeah, that's cool. So what was your superhero concept? Is it gonna be? Would it be a superhero book?
Probably.
Nothing wrong with that. So
Probably.
what kind of superhero would you do?
I don't know. I'd probably go along the lines of that female empowerment and stuff like that. That seems to be my thing right now. So
Nothing wrong with that.
no, I think that there's a need for more of those. There doesn't seem to be enough of them. So
I it so here's the thing that was really weird for me. It's gonna sound like probably like from my end of things, it was really weird dealing with the fact that it's gonna sound when I started doing my podcast, most of my and honestly just my entire writing career,
yeah,
I primarily worked with women. It wasn't exactly a plan, it just kind of happened that way,
yeah,
right? So this idea for me it took me a while to actually see the women are the women impression thing because my cover artist was a woman, my
yeah,
publisher was a woman, my a lot of my interviews at first when I started were women, and it was like there's a lot of you in here and you all seem to be doing quite well at this.
yeah,
Ooh, no, that was an assumption.
yeah,
Although there are a lot of women I know who do quite well at this, right? It's a road that has come through some very difficult struggles,
yep,
which I never fully saw when I first started doing it.
yeah.
So, and I learned another important, valuable lesson. I'm doing this one, which is this:
Mm.
chins are the key. They are the key to everything.
Yeah,
It's all about the chin. It is totally about the chin. This guy is not Jon Stewart, and the reason he's not Jon Stewart is the chin. It's all the chin.
yeah. It's the tiniest thing can sometimes all you have to do is just change your line just a little bit. And all of a sudden, oh my goodness, that's the picture. Holy shit, that's the person. Whereas like 2 seconds earlier, the line was just slightly off. It looked nothing like them. And it's like the smallest detail can completely change the entire portrait.
That's right. Well, my second John's going to be better than third John. That's okay. We're going to call him John No Chin.
John Nugent, just give him a bigger beard, like go like COVID Bushman style, you know.
Hair is hard, by the way.
Is
Hair,
it?
yeah, hair is ridiculously hard because I'm only using. Remember, I don't have any colors and I don't have any like. So when I color his beard in, it's like okay, I can color your beard in. Beard is good, but to make a beard seem like you color it darker, right? So it's like, but I've already colored it. So for me, it's like depth becomes a much trickier thing. Especially if you want hair's out of place, hair's in place.
Well, sometimes if what are you using a pen or I couldn't or a pencil? No, you have your pencil. Sometimes if you take your eraser and you actually
Yes.
go in and make little, and you can actually lift some of it off, and that's why I like the pen so much. I like even here doing the eyebrows and stuff, doing each little thing, and because I've got the pen, I can go in and actually different weights and stuff like that on the different hair and things. And yeah, if using a pencil, I've gone in and actually used my eraser to draw as well, because then you can lift it off and kind of it adds that depth.
Yeah, yeah. No, the eraser is so. I was blown away how important the eraser was when I started this. It's like, wow, Mr. Eraser, you are actually a tool. I never thought of you like
Yep.
that before. But I learned. I learned so quickly what I didn't know.
Yeah. I've done entire drawings with just an eraser, like covered it in charcoal, like the whole page, and then drew with the eraser. So the whole drawing is just erasing to find the paper from underneath. It was kind of neat. Like a straight blank.
I got Chevy Macheva's. I think I'll keep them just like this and do another one, just because I learned a very important secret. I gave him the Ninja Turtle head. That's what I did. I gave him the Ninja Turtle head.
Yeah.
I'll show it, ladies and gentlemen, when it's all over. Don't worry. I got no problem looking. Like I said, I don't worry about looking foolish anymore. I just worry about. The secret to Jon is like his whole. It's all in the chin. Like half his face. Like you got the chrome dome. He's got a dome. He does have a dome, but then you have to angle his face in, and then he looks like Jon Stewart, which is just like, okay, I get you.
Like I said, the tiniest detail can change the entire picture.
It does. It makes Jon. It turns Jon from like human looking to Ninja Turtle.
Yep.
Right. Yes. Ninja Turtles. Again, I learned something very valuable. Ninja Turtles are all about chins. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Nose thing. I love the Ninja Turtles.
No one hates the Ninja Turtles. I don't. I have not.
I've never met someone who does not. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to meet that person. I'm being very honest with you. That would hurt me on ways I think. It's like, who are you?
A lot of like, what happened to you that make you hate Ninja Turtles? Like,
well, it's like ice cream. Like, do you believe that people actually hate ice cream?
no, because there's so many flavors. Like, if you
yeah, exactly. No one would believe you.
No, because there's always going to be something. Like, even if you have anything, chocolate, nuts, you're always going to find something.
Chocolate. I'm more inclined to believe.
Because but like with ice cream though, all the different flavors, like
no, ice cream's different. Like, okay, can I find someone that can hate chocolate ice cream? Yes, I can definitely find someone.
Oh, for sure. But again, that's because that's one of the flavors. There's so many flavors that you can have that you can't just say I hate ice cream, because like even you could make like a absolutely zero flavor ice cream and that no.
So note to self. But keys to Nicolette's heart: chocolate ice cream.
Chocolate, anything, really.
Yeah. No, just anything was. Chocolate, anything. I now know how to be your friend for life. It's all about the chocolate.
It is. I love
it. So I'll let you draw something for me. It's like, what? I'll buy you ice cream. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Chocolate? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, huh? Ice cream? Okay. We have a concept.
Ninja Turtle ice cream. Huh? What flavor that would be? Like a pizza?
That would be that Ninja Turtle. Well, it'd be almost like a mutant thing. I think you'd have to use that tiger stuff, that orange and black stuff, and you have to mix it with like peppermint. Like it'd be like mutant powered stuff.
It would have to be.
Yes.
And you'd have to sing when you ate it or something, or do some sort of like
the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song all the way.
Yeah. The old school one.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Has to be.
When the evil Shredder attacks.
When April had the full yellow suit.
Yes.
The full yellow suit.
Although she's like my favorite character in the current Ninja Turtles one, actually.
Oh no, she's great too. It's just that was always how I knew her.
But yeah.
Had that yellow suit thing.
No, it's totally like Ninja Turtle Ape. Like that show was amazing. Like it just let like stuff happen.
Yeah, it was. I had the action figures. One of my little friends down the road had like really great parents. Was a little spoiled. Actually had the van, so I was super jealous and wanted the van because I had all the little action characters.
Yeah. Oh.
And so I go and hang out at her house and play with the van too.
That's awesome.
Because most of the time they had to drive my Barbie Corvette.
But hey, listen.
That's what I had.
I'd pay to see that Ninja Turtles coming down the street in the Barbie Corvette. That'd be amazing.
A red Barbie Corvette, and then I had a white Ferrari. So they would fight.
You should actually draw that someday. And
Actually, I should.
you really should. That would be amazing.
That is a good idea. Actually, the
And then
Barbie.
have Barbie chasing after them, like on foot. Come back with my car.
I like it. And maybe April's in there too. She stole it, and Barbie's like, "What?"
Well, you can have like Ken. Like I have to admit, I have an irrational hatred towards Ken. It's not fully rational. I don't.
Like that weird hatred I had for George Clooney briefly in my teenage years. I'm over that now, but I had this
Are you
weird.
sure?
It's not quite as like.
It's not strong.
And it didn't make any sense either.
I don't hate. Why do I hate you? Because you are like you are just this terrible. No, you're not.
There was no reason for it at all. But yeah, Ken, he's questionable. Like he's definitely I don't know.
Well, maybe it's just the fact he has no balls. That might
be. My Barbies dated the Ninja Turtles. Like Ken would hang out alone. Like he didn't have a date ever.
Like
the Ninja Turtles always.
It's official. Ken, no one likes you. Sorry.
Yeah. Ken's no good.
It's amazing what you learn just a little tricks and a little time with this stuff.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But no, like, yeah, Ken, you suck. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Ken. No, you don't like Ken.
I interviewed somebody once. She had Barbie dating Kendra.
Yeah.
I was in that situation. I was oddly for it. It's like, you know what? Fuck it. I can't stand that guy. I don't blame you. I date Kendra too. Right. Yeah. But it's just one of those things I just recognize. Like, you know what? I have an irrational hatred of this guy. I don't know why.
I think it's legit. I don't like him either. It's just legit.
Because it's like you think it's like, why do you hate him? It's like if I knew the answer to that question, I'd give it to you. But I just can't stand him, and I don't know.
Yeah, he's wrong because I don't know.
Wow. Yeah.
Seemed like he'd be a good guy. Like I think he'd be a douche. You know, he seems douchey to me.
He is douchey.
Yeah, he must be.
That's right. That's my reason. It's like, why do you hate Ken? He's a douchebag. He's just a douchebag.
He is. Like even on the Toy Story movies, he's a little douchey. Like.
Well, yeah.
Toy Story I've seen.
Every Toy Story I've seen, he's always been a douchebag. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Like you have this. It's like this is not rational. It's like I didn't say it was.
Yeah, no, it's like I said. I don't know why I had a weird hatred for George Clooney.
So I do YouTube highlights.
We've made amends, but
I do YouTube highlights of all my interviews. Right, they're up on my channel.
Yeah.
The irrational hatred is definitely going to be one of those things. Like the fact that we have confessions.
Yeah.
Things we irrationally hate. I hate Ken. Why? He's a douche.
Yeah, he's a complete. Yeah. And
George Clooney because once
upon it's funny because you're like when you're playing, like you do the role play, and it's technically you can create the character, but like he just definite douche.
Mattel. It's like Mattel deliberately created a douchebag.
They did. Completely.
So it's Mattel's fault that we created this douchey character named Ken, not our imagination at all.
No, it's true. No, definitely not. Always did for the Ninja Turtles every time, or G.I. Joe. If he waltzed up, it was all over. Well, Ken was cast aside.
See, that's it. So this would. I should commission this for me. I don't think I have the money to afford you right now, but they would be the Ninja Turtles and April in the Corvette, Barbie chasing after the Corvette on foot, and Ken just got completely shellacked by the turtles to get the car. Turned the turtles into a GTA gangster thing. Right, that would totally do it.
I like this idea. I can picture it already. I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's fantastic, right?
So doing it.
Yeah,
It's like my childhood right there.
Yeah, it's like what happened?
It sums up my
What if the Ninja Turtles were actually a Grand Theft Auto game and they just tormented like Ken?
That should be a thing.
Yeah.
All the terrible things they do to Ken. Poor Ken, all his dull, downtrodden, looking sad all the time. He deserves it. He needs a backstory too, Ken. We need to have his douchebag backstory.
He's just me. He's that guy every woman, for whatever reason, likes to date. It never goes well, and all of you have that story of that guy you.
He's the one that tells you you'd be prettier if you smiled, kind of guy.
Yeah. Yep. You'd be so pretty if you smiled. I was that guy once, so I can't really say. I didn't realize what I had done at the time. It's like I was that guy. Damn, I was dumb.
Well, it depends on how you say it, because like smiling is nice. Like it's when people smile, they're like the happy and stuff. It's when they say it in the condescending sense that you should just smile and suck it up kind of thing is when, yeah.
Well, thanks for the save. No, I just, yeah. Thanks for the save.
Anytime, Josh. Anytime. I got you.
You're not. You say no. I sometimes.
Because you know I have zero filter. So if you were a douche, I would have been like, Josh, you're a douche. But you're not actually a douche. No, you.
Oh, I mean, I'm
sure tell you if you were douchey. Don't worry.
Okay. I'll believe you. I'll believe you. Okay, I'm not a full douchebag. Just sometimes. Well, I try to be like honest with my shortcomings, and we all have them, and I think I made a very white version of Jon Stewart, or at least the start to a very white version of Jon Stewart. So picture that guy.
Yeah, see, that's where I might have to phone if I saw him lurking like around a playground or something. Like,
it's like you're a complicated man. Like, give him Barry White's voice. Just give him Barry White's voice.
He needs like what's that? Right Said Fred, the I'm too sexy, that mesh shirt.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Then you're not a Green Lantern anymore. You're just a guy in a shirt, right? You're just a guy in a shirt.
He's too sexy for his cat.
Yeah. Wait. But I think I nailed Jon Stewart. Wait, that came out completely wrong.
Where's the porn stash?
That's right. Well, he got the porn stash for a reason, right? That's the thing. But yeah, no, it's been amazing to watch.
Normal Jon Stewart. It has to be, you have to nail porn stash Jon Stewart.
That's right. Well, I think I was well on my way there. Like all I have to do is just add like another line and color it in. It's like it's totally porn stash Jon Stewart.
Oh, completely. You should like he needs the outfit too, like almost some sparkles or something.
Yeah, but if I do that, then he's not a Green Lantern anymore. He's a pimp.
That's true. We took it just like one toke over the line.
Like that's it. Like say what happens. Like what'd you do to John?
Yeah, it's like the movie we can't talk about, right? It just went awry.
I had that out of my mind. Now you put it back in my like.
Sorry.
Why? What did I do to you?
I'm sorry, man.
You know, now I gotta think about how. Oh.
Let's repress that one.
No, repression doesn't work. They usually
it always comes back out in some kind of very.
Well, no, it just does. It's like why repress anything?
No,
because like okay,
it's coming back bigger.
Why repress? Because it doesn't work. What ends up happening is more liquor gets consumed, and then you wake up to bigger messes and walks of shame than you had prior to it.
It's true, actually.
Yeah.
Completely.
It's like what happens? Like I tried to. There is no spoon. Why'd you get drunk with that? I don't know. I'm a fuck up. I mean, what do you want?
Yeah. Why did I do that? Bad choices.
All of the bad choices.
It's true. You just have to own it, feel it, and that is what it is.
That's right. That is totally it. That is totally. This has gotten very silly.
Yes. What was the silliest part? Was the Ferraris and the Ninja Turtles, or the?
That part was awesome. That part was totally awesome.
That's why I was like, okay, don't be, yeah. But the
the Green Lantern movie and repression.
Green Lantern, that one was extra. Yeah.
Yes. Oh God, I got someone actually recommended Ryan Reynolds. I'm not sorry, dude. That movie just makes me sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just makes me.
Especially when it has so much potential, and then they just.
Okay. Let's seriously, for 1 minute here, it could have been great. Like they again cut it.
It had all the possibilities. Like it really could have.
Great Carol Ferris, like Ryan Reynolds' Hal is not terrible, right? I mean that's not a terrible choice.
No.
You have Hector Hammond, who was a good actor. You had Sinestro in the movie. Mark Strong was great.
Yeah.
Good choice for Sinestro, but you had all the core stuff. You brought it like all that stuff in one movie was like, oh, why?
Yeah, it was just
like, and then see Justice League. There's a reason there was no Green Lantern in Justice League.
Yeah,
that was the reason.
They were repressing it. It just didn't happen.
Ignore it, it'll go away.
Yeah, it will go away. It never happened. It never existed.
And somewhere over the rainbow, there is a former DC comic books executive getting drunk, going, "I screw this up. Hi, right.
Fuck you guys. You fired me. I'm gonna just royally fuck this up." That's what's happening right now. That's bad decisions, bad choices, right there.
Yeah, it was totally. No, it's just like they do great animated stuff. Like I actually, it's really cool. Like I had Elsa come on, and Elsa that works for Warner Brothers, and was like, "You do Green Lantern Corps." Like that was awesome. Like the animated cartoon is amazing.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I'm not just saying that because Elsa did it. It really was a good show.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna try another Green Lantern. So okay, I'm not doing Hal. I hate to say it, but Hal's like the most boring. He's neat, and there's definitely something like he is that classic. When you think greatest Green Lantern, it is Hal.
Yeah.
But he's not. But so there's I'm not doing Hal. I did Jon. Guy can be fun. Also a douche. He's also a bit douchey, but he's the douche you like for some reason.
Those are trouble.
Well, no, but he's the douche you like because here's the thing about Guy. He gets his ass kicked, right? He gets his ass kicked royally, but he has a lot of good redeeming qualities to him too. Yeah, he's got that prickly thing to him, but he's also got this like there's a really good heart and there's a dude that really cares in there.
He's not full douche. He's like quasi douche and like
he has his moments where he's a full douchebag.
Yeah,
he does have them.
But there's redeeming qualities so that he's not completely like full douche.
Yeah. All right. So here's the choice. I didn't see this. I'm going to take a quick look. Okay. No. Okay, so it's not. I'm not going to get that. I don't want to spoil that because I don't. I just don't want to spoil that. So I think I'm going to draw Jessica Cruz.
I like it.
You know who Jessica Cruz is?
No.
So she's a Green Lantern with anxiety
Ooh, I would
all the
like
time.
her.
Right? It's like she's always finding her anxiety as much. So she's like this crazy amazing Green Lantern in one sense because she's all the thing about anxiety. Ooh, yeah, actually, she probably is the most powerful Green Lantern ever because the fact that she's able to do what she does without. So the cool thing about her is her design's really neat. Um, but more importantly, I just like I love the fact with her. There's something to be said about overcoming fear is the heart and soul of Green Lantern,
Yeah.
right? That's the overwhelming arc is that no matter how scary it might seem, fear can be overcome, right? It just can be overcome. Well, she's the living embodiment of that because here she is dealing with this absolutely unbearable thing inside her all the time.
Yeah.
And to even use the ring, she has to fight her own anxiety, right? The whole time, which is just like this. When you sit there and think about that, that's just amazingly badass,
It
right?
really
Right? And think about so I like John's my favorite, but I know if you like Jessica Cruz, I can't blame you.
Yeah. No, that sounds fair.
Yeah, right. I can't blame you. She's just an amazing character without like even trying to. So that is who I'm doing now because so the two I enjoyed the Green Lanterns book by in the last relaunch. I thought it was an amazing book. And the cool thing about Green Lantern is you can have different characters don the mantle,
Yeah,
and it's interesting, right? Because everybody uses the ring differently.
that's true, actually.
Yeah.
And
So
you see the character that comes out, right? How they,
absolutely.
the way, the things they overcome.
Yes. Which is why Hal's the most boring.
He is the soda cracker of
The rice cake.
the rice cake without the cheese on top.
It's just the plain old white rice cake. Sorry.
It's true.
It's not that Hal can't be interesting. He can be, but the thing about him is right. The thing about him is he because he's the best. There's only so much you can do with him.
Well, yeah, if you're already kind of at the top, there's not a whole lot for character development. There's not a lot of. It just, yeah, that's true. Sometimes the story is the flaws and the overcoming and the
Yeah.
falling and getting back up sort of thing.
Yeah. So I mean, I enjoy the current like it is a very house centric comic right now. Although that's wrapping up very soon. Um, the thing about what made that thing is the writer and the artist acknowledge he's a weird character.
Yeah.
He's a weird character.
Yeah.
So when you have a character that you openly acknowledge is a bit strange, it was an interesting take, and they had a lot of fun with him. Like you could tell they enjoyed writing him, and like I said, you can do some interesting stuff with him.
Yeah.
But but you're limited by the fact that he's always going to be this guy.
Yeah. It's true. And there's not a lot of wiggle room for
No,
change and growth unless you have him totally fall. And why would it's
which has been done.
yeah. That'd be the only thing you could really.
Yeah. So it's been done. So I mean, you can't really go down that route too much
No.
anymore either. Hair is really interesting. It's tricky to do well. But the hair is really a bunch of solid lines and not so solid lines. And that's how you create hair.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's what I'm doing too here. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this more suggested because usually what I'll do later is poke around at things, and then I say I'm done, and then I'm not done, and then I go back and end up adding paint and things. But I think as far as Wonder Woman,
Well, I'm glad you think I've improved quite a bit since I first started this.
I have noticed.
Yes.
Even since you've done the first drawing of the evening.
Mm-hmm. Scary. I might actually be really good at this.
Scary. I think you probably could. Well, it's that muscle memory. The more you practice, the more you use the muscles in your hand. That's how I trick students into learning how to write and actually writing things for me. Like, hey, you want to get good at drawing? You have to use your hand.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know a secret, and I think we'll get to the part where we show off your stuff and I show off mine, and that's this. The reason now, again, my approach is partly why I think this works, right? And again, there's definitely some things I got to work on.
Yeah.
Sure. But what I've noticed about this is it's the fact that I tell stories in other formats also helps me with this. The fact I use other disciplines. I write books, I podcast, I interview people, right? Yeah. By the way, have you had fun?
I have had fun. It has been lots of fun.
Good.
No, and that's the thing. A lot of times, well, I'm not an artist, but anyone who's creating anything
is an
artist. You know, chefs are artists. The way they plate things, the way they put flavors together. Musicians, singers, people who act, like writers. It's all an art form because you're creating, and oftentimes you'll realize that you thought, well, I could only write or I could only draw, but if you dabble in some of the other stuff, the creative types usually end up being good at a lot of different art forms.
Which comes to a very interesting question for you. Talk about teaching people how to write. So, are you gonna write something?
I would love to write something one day. I have before. I remember I was 14 years old. I wrote a story about vampires. It was like typed 200 pages and it was on a floppy disk because that's how old I am. And I think my mom threw it out. But like so writing, I do enjoy it actually. And that is the thing. And even teaching kids with, I use a lot of visuals alongside writing. Like I describe this and they have to actually draw it, and then they use the descriptive words and whatnot to talk about it. So it's like that visual component. And even students that having trouble with the fine motor skills, but I noticed they really like drawing, then I kind of encourage, well, you want to practice the letter form because they just hate it sometimes, so they fight it. And practice those forms, get your hands moving if you want to be able to draw, and then I can show them some of the stuff that I've done. And I'm like, that's how I was able to do it. It's just that it kind of goes over and crosses over so many times like that. But I think I do want to get back into it. I don't know if I was ever fully into it, but I've always liked it. Always had an interest. So I don't know if back into would be the word for it, but maybe it is.
Because it definitely screwed her up a little bit, but that's okay. I learned some really good basics for her. Because here's the thing, because I think, because we talk about your comic book, I have women empowerment and stuff like that. So I think you have a story in you.
I might. Yeah, I think you're right, actually. Jon has said that too a few times as well.
Yeah, so I think you got a story in you, and you should tell it.
Probably should. And I could, and I know that I could. And I'm getting to that point where Yeah.
Because you should.
Yeah.
Because life's too short and you got things to do.
It's true. Actually, life is far too short. I'm learning more and more every day. Okay.
So, I get, like, obviously, I got a lot of work to do still, but I think we come to the point where we're going to have to wrap this up real soon.
Yep. I think I'm good for, you know.
So,
Ooh, I like it.
it's not too bad. I got some work to do. It's not quite right. My jet sticker cruise does need some work. However, as you can see, I think I figured out hands.
Yeah, no, you definitely, and that's a huge thing to figure out. The hands are they take down a lot of artists' hands.
Squares and rectangles, ladies and gentlemen. Squares and rectangles. Rectangle the fingers, square the knuckles. That's it. That's the secret.
Yeah,
right?
It's all a bunch of lines and shapes. Is all drawing is.
Hair is tricky. Hair, as you can see, is very, very tricky. You got, but again, and now I learned just doing long hair with first time I did long hair with a character. Solid lines, lots of not so solid lines, and you create the appearance of hair, and So you let's can you show yours again? So she's got a masked Wonder Woman. That's right, a masked Wonder Woman. That's right. That's what she's doing here. So this is a Wonder Woman for a one from a wonderful person. And I think we've had a fun little drink and draw here, ladies and gentlemen.
We have.
Yeah. So did you have fun?
I did.
Are you nervous? Okay, I tried. That one. We'll keep working on that one. But
working on it.
Nothing to be nervous about. You're good at what you do, and honestly, that's how you should treat it. Is if you're good at what you do. So here's the question then for everybody listening and or watching. Okay, you mentioned your books earlier. You've done it. Do you do commissions?
All the time, yeah.
All the time. So why don't you advertise where people can find you? What kind of commissions you do? Like she can do kick-ass WW. So I mean, she definitely knows her thing. So knock yourself out.
I'm terrible at that. I can literally draw and paint anything. So I've done anything from people's pets to nursery versions of Star Wars. Like anything really. It's I mostly have my Facebook page and stuff is where the Nikolette Jones art is where I usually am. You can find me there, but
Nikolette Jones art.
Yeah.
Like as in her name.
Yeah. I figured that was easy enough. My grown-up name.
Grown-up name.
Nikolette. Parce que je dois le dire comme une personne française.
Je ne parle pas français en 25 ans, mais je parle comme ça. A little bit. Anyway, I still remember pieces of it.
Yeah.
I need to practice. Maybe next time I come see you.
Well, like I said, I am a French teacher, so.
That's right. You can teach me all the dirty swear words too, I'm sure. Excellent. Excellent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank each and everybody for this week of just joshing. It was an amazing time. I couldn't think of a better person to close it out than with the one and only Nikolette Jones. If you want to support this podcast, you can do so in a number of different ways. I got books out. You can buy those. They'll be in the description below it at the end. If you want to support the podcast, subscribing to it either on any podcast app if you want to just listen to it, or if you want to just keep watching these, my Twitch channel is twitch.tv/justjoshingpodcast. Hit the subscribe button there or the follow button. And on YouTube, I'm Joshua Pantellarusco. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. I'll see you guys next week. And